takes the victory, 128 laps without a pit stop.
Donnie Kite's going to get through it all and score his first career win. Saturday Night Racing League and throwback at Charlotte goes to Josh Adams.
Chapman's been around for 32, almost 33 years. It's a great company. We've built it from 10 people not all that long ago to 32 people today. We continue to grow. We're hiring people all the time. If there's one thing that I could do, like before my time is up at Chapman, it is making sure that we've built a company that will stand the test of time. And my goal as the current owner of the company, or one of the owners of the company, is to ensure that we can pass the ownership of the organization on to the next generation of people coming up the ranks today. One area of our business where we impact the local communities pretty heavily is the school systems. So we work for school systems all over the northern part of the state of New Jersey. We operate their water systems, their wastewater systems. We do a lot of their permitting and compliance work, and we ensure that the water that the kids drink is clean. We go out and do the sampling to ensure that it's not contaminated. And we also treat the wastewater that's being generated at a lot of these facilities as well before it gets discharged to the environment. So we are supporting the local community through supporting the boards of education and the local school systems.
It's the Windy City out in Chicago, Illinois, here tonight for week number 18 and the street course configuration that we know oh so well. Welcome in, everybody. I'm your host, Bradley Cooper, and live tonight on V-Speed, it's the Chapman Environmental Services Cup Series presented by Racing Revolution. It's the Shield Protection Equipment 83 from Chicago Street Course. And joined in the booth, as always, we have Alex Gagnon. Alex, this racetrack, it's kind of stapled itself as the replacement for Chicagoland, but I think it's on borrowed time. This racetrack is starting to show that it's difficult to pass, and it doesn't present as much of a spectacle that maybe these stock cars could put on elsewhere, like Sonoma, like Watkins Glen. It is a difficult venue to race at.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It is, by all accounts, a very historic place for stock car racing, doing a street course race. But like anything, especially the way they've treated the schedule the past couple of years, everything evolves and changes when it comes to racing these kind of cars. Would not surprise me if they steer away from it in the future. But while it's still on the schedule, For this year, it is on the schedule here tonight, 2.14 miles and a lot of little 90-degree hairpin turns going around this the city streets here in Grant Park. 12 turns, as you can see the track map there, kind of broken out into two real sections, going down Lakeshore Drive in the front half and then going up East Columbus on the other side. Should be a fun battle of track position tonight, but when it comes to actually making moves, you really have to get a great run going into turns 3 and 4, into 6, or into turn 1. Those are really the only opportunities to make something happen on the racetrack.
And when we were talking there pre-race, it's been a dominant performance. But last time we were at a road course, it was Sonoma Raceway. And that one, in my opinion, was the best show that we have put on here at Racing Revolution. 3 drivers, 3 cars. It came down to the wire with 2 of those drivers left. And all 3 of them were running about the same pace. It was Carter Lynch, Trevor Keith, and of course the 9 of Jeremy Burns who dominated there. But it never was a pull away, give me win that Jeremy Burns is used to having when we come to these racetracks where we have to turn right. So I'm interested to see, based off of these practice times, if that's going to be the case that we were treated to there last time. Taking a look at the points here while we have a moment, and there's Jeremy Burns with a 236 point lead from the cutoff mark, 563 total points, 6 wins, looking for his 7th here tonight. Travis Gilbert getting a win at Pocono to add number 3 to the column. He has been fantastic. And then our last week's winner, Kyle Diaz, he has now locked himself into the playoff picture in 15th position back here with 359. He's 32 above the mark, but of course locked in. And Brandon Richardson will be another driver that is locked in to that top 16. So there's still a lot of drivers with zeros next to their name here, Alex, and they could be knocked out if they get near that cutoff mark around the 15th, 16th position, and a driver that's in the top 25 but out of this top 16 gets a victory. It can knock some of these guys out.
Yeah, one of those ones I'd be keeping an eye on tonight is that guy in 17th right now. We know Trevor Keith's got some good speed on the road courses, currently just on the outside looking in, but when you account for those winners below the cut line, that cut line a little bit further than it might look initially for TK, but this could be an opportunity for him to try to put some pressure on some of those guys ahead of him who maybe aren't as road course savvy, who are also looking for that first win here tonight. Lot on the line for these guys. This regular season's getting coming to a close sooner than you might think. There's not a ton of races left.
Absolutely is not. And we were going through the schedule. Of course, we've got coming up with Dover. We're going to take a hiatus here, a little break in between those weeks. So next Wednesday, you will not have Racing Revolution scheduled, but then it's on to the Monster Mile. And then, you look at the schedule overall, there's not a lot left. You've got, let me look here, 6 races, I do believe, after this week. And then it's on to the round of 16 at Darlington. So these guys are on borrowed time. They don't have a lot of opportunities left. You've got a variety of different race venues like Dover, Indianapolis, I would say probably more of a super speedway style race. And of course, Daytona there in the Hot Wheels 200. That could bring another driver's name into that top 16. But while we have a moment here, we were talking about who we would bring up. And I think Trevor Keith is the driver we were talking about bringing in here. So let's go ahead and bring Trevor Keith into the studio. Trevor Keith, it's Alex Gagnon and Bradley Cooper in the booth. You got a copy?
I do.
Well, we were trying to keep optimism this week. We know that you had a good car at Sonoma. We know you had a good car at the road courses. Every time you come here, you put the time in. What's it going to take to finally get that finish that you deserve?
No mistakes, man. We can't make the stupid mistakes that we made at Sonoma and other ovals even. We got to stay clean and stay as up front as we can here. Nail the pit strategy. That's been a problem all year. And if you make no mistakes here, who knows what could happen, right? So just focus on no mistakes here and see what we can do.
Absolutely. Well, Trevor, before we get to the grid, anybody you want to shout out real quick as we look around this scenic venue here at
I'll shout out
Chicago?
V-Speed. Oh, sorry. I didn't even cut you off, but we'll shout out V-Speed. Shout out KSX Racing Graphics. Make all the paint schemes. We have a bunch of paint schemes out there today. Well, shout out the team at LFM. We've all put the work in, and it's showing. Justice isn't too far behind me there, and we all work together to get better at these things. And yeah, shout out all the league sponsors, and shout out Burns, because I know we're about to have a hell of a race here.
Good luck out there.
Yep.
Trevor Keith, driver of the number 15 KSX Graphics, sponsoring the pit barrels as well here. And we look forward to, actually, for some reason, and I'm not sure why, my driver cam slash full screen there is backwards. So I need to get that fixed, but let's go ahead and roll into the grid while we have an opportunity. And it was that driver right there that was starting on the pole, so I guess I should just keep that name up there. Starting on the top spot here today, the Coastal Financial Pole Award is going to go to Trevor Keith, top spot for the number 15. Congratulations to him. Moving on through the rest of your grid, Jeremy Burns is going to start to the outside. He lost by 1/10 of a second roughly, but I'm sure he's got the pace to keep up there with the rest of the top three. Carter Lenz and Dakota Floyd will start side by side in row number 2. Then it's on to Kevin Orlando Jr. and Justice Murphy for row number 3. Michael Call and Matt Robinson, 7th and 8th, and rounding out the top 10, Trevor Erhardt, Parker Johnston, and the 48.
Yeah, looking back to row 6 here, Tyler Harrison, Grant Thorpe will be making up that grouping. 13th tonight, Dylan Picklesheimer alongside the 39 of Grant Turner, rolling off 14th. 15th tonight will be Jacob Sirkovich lining up alongside Caleb Gilbert. And then the last car to take a time in qualifying will be the 21 of Daniel Holloway. He'll roll off 17th alongside the 55 of Justin Ritchie. Rounding out your top 20, Michael Reed and Kyle Diaz.
Last week's winner, starting from 20th, electing not to take a time, Alex Forget Berube, Kyle Stewart, and our final row, Michael A. Bennett, Brandon Richardson, in the number 8. There's a look here at the venue, and like you mentioned there, a lot of 90-degree turns. It gets narrow in certain portions of this racetrack. The carousel that we're coming up on here in just a moment, that might be the most difficult part of this racetrack because you have to fight the instinct to pass. The overtake opportunities don't present themselves very often, but if you find yourself next to somebody in that portion of the racetrack, there's a strong likelihood that you're going to end up in the inside or outside walls. The left-hand side here, very difficult to manage single wide, so I can only imagine coming through this portion of the racetrack with somebody at your door.
Yeah, it gets really tough here, and that's part of why we see so much single file racing at Chicago. It's just some of these parts of the racetrack are so narrow that you really just need to be calculated into trying to set up an opportunity to pass in some of those heavy braking zones. And this part of the racetrack, it's all just about survival. We've seen things get wadded up here from time to time. Car gets around in the fountain section or up this McDonald's bridge, and all of a sudden you've got 7-8 cars all stacked up in it. A danger lurks around every corner here at this street course just because of how narrow some of these corners can be.
While I fix some of the graphics here, we're riding on board, getting ready to go green, and here we go for week number 18, Chicago Street Course for the Chapman Cup Series. And already getting a little wiggly loose there for Keith. He's got Lenz and Burns. We're getting treated to some of the same. There's already an overtake opportunity to the inside. Lenz had the nose. He's going to be to the door. Keith gets a good run off of turn 2.
And he will establish control here through 3 into turn 4. Lenz and Burns going to settle in second and third. Oh, Keith hit the wall pretty hard there in 4. Got a big piece of it coming out of 5 now. Here they go down this long straightaway into turn 6. This is the first big passing opportunity on the racetrack. Sorry, second. Turn 1 is the first one. Now here they go back into the fountain section. We'll take a look at this replay. This is what happened to Trevor Keith through 4.
Actually trying to cycle through. We had not quite got to the race scene just yet. And we've got a car sideways in the back. That's Grant Turner in the 39. That does warrant a replay in turn 7.
Yeah,
Locks up the
just
race.
Yeah, and that car snapped around on him. Luckily for the rest of the field, it cut inwards toward the wall, not in the way of oncoming traffic. It's in a spot where everyone can still kind of navigate around it. So it could have been a lot worse there as we move on to lap 2. Trevor Keith going to lead the first lap here tonight at the Chicago Street Course. These leaders already checking out. We knew that Keith, Linz, and Burns were going to be fast here tonight, but they've already opened up a 4-second gap back to Kevin Orlando Jr. in 4th, and he's trying to hold off Matt Robinson at the moment. Michael Call just behind them as well. We'll jump on board with the driver of the Metroplex number 9, Jeremy Burns. Currently running in the third spot.
I think problems again here for Grant Turner. And that car is not handling. He's lost a ton of ground. He's now fallen back from the field about 8 seconds. He cannot steer it.
No, he cannot. That car is not doing well. And at this point, it's already just become an early case of trying to hold on to it if he can.
Right on board with him here as I fix those graphics. Eye on Grant Turner. But you can see how difficult it is to keep that wheel angled enough, and he has to slow down more than the rest of these drivers just to get it to steer in.
Keeping an eye right now on Grant Turner, just trying to get that car to kind of settle down a little bit. Is the 39. Here through the fountain section. We jump back into real time here. Things looking good so far for the driver of the 15, a 1-second advantage here. So we see Dakota Floyd, who started up in the top second, he started in the second row, fell way back into field early on, and now is already having to try to work his way back through traffic. Not an ideal start tonight.
Oh, car around. Parker Johnston in the 48.
Oh, sorry, Dakota Floyd was given an EOL at the start of the race, even though he qualified for it. That is why he started so deep in the field.
You got a car off the racetrack. Justice Murphy done for the day already. Into the pits. No, he is out on the racetrack. Maybe a connection issue here for the 12. He's going to go by Grant Turner and gain a position, but he's actually a lap down, so not a position gain. He's in 24th. The stage break will put him back on the lead lap. Thankfully for him, it happened before that stage, but not able to hit the grid in time, and so for the 12, it's a little bit more of a challenge than he probably intended it to be. And Trevor Keith came to play. Man, we were talking pre-race, Alex, about how good Jeremy Burns was going to be, but the 15 has impressed me so far.
He's putting some noticeable distance here over the 66 and the 9. These two cars, I mean, really this top 3 right now, I think a lot of folks were looking at in the pre-race today as the cars you were going to be expecting to be battling for those podium spots, but so far so good for the 15, the 66, and the 9. Now 6 seconds clear. Kevin Orlando back there in 4th. And, you're talking a little bit about Justice Murphy missing the start. He's currently scored 1 lap down. Oh, Lynn's got a piece of the wall there, as did Burns. But Justice Murphy would be the free pass car at the stage scheduled for lap 10 here tonight. If he is able to be the only car a lap down, the issues that some of the other drivers in the field have had, it's entirely possible that we could have multiple cars a lap down by the time we hit that point. We jump on board here. This is Michael Reed back in the 18th position here. This is through that turn 3, 4, and 5 section.
I hate to jump around on you. I apologize for that because we were on board with Michael Call and then we jumped to a Michael Reed, and that probably didn't help the confusion there. But we saw Kyle Stewart get by the 91, and there's a little bit of front end damage on this machine, so I think maybe that's hindering him. Let's go back on the replay and see if maybe that's what caused or created this situation for the pass. No, he's already kind of riding the wall there, but he already has the front end damage.
And it's been, we've already seen a number of cars get beat up a little bit here today. Some cars with damage, other cars who've gotten caught up just tapping the wall here a little bit. These corner exits at the street course is so narrow that sometimes all it takes is being offline by a little bit, and you're ending up getting a piece of concrete. Well, on board here, this is Jeremy Burns. And while he continues to kind of hang to the back bumper of Carter Linz here, the two of them are continuing to bleed time to race leader Trevor Keith.
It's 1.5 seconds back to Linz, another half a second back to Jeremy Burns. And Linz took a stab at the lead on lap 1, but again, it goes back to how difficult it is to complete a pass here. He got to the door, Keith, not able to get the exit speed that Keith had, and the closest battles on the racetrack are between second and third, and now fifth and sixth position. But Matt Robinson a little bit slower through this portion of the racetrack, giving up some time to Michael Call in the 89.
Yeah, we're coming on board here with Robinson in that sixth spot, who's just lost out to Call. As they make their way back up the hill here to turn 12. Gonna make that right-hander. You can see how bright those brake rotors are already glowing, even on these front-running cars. Just shows how heavy the brakes are here at some of these high-speed corners. They're really, there it is.
In real life, we saw a lot of rotor failures at this racetrack. Yeah. And that and other venues that have heavy brake points like this. New Hampshire's another one of them where you better have fans blowing on those brake rotors the whole race. Some of these guys are heating their rotors up over 400 degrees in the counterpart of the real world. And, you know, thankfully for us here on iRacing, we don't so much have that brake fade, but we do have the ability to lock up the brakes if you push that pedal too hard. And we've seen that already with the 39 locking it up, and a few others have went for a spin. Dakota Floyd with his EOL has recovered back to 12th position. Just now last week's winner, Kyle Diaz, Justin Ritchie within a half a second of each other.
Yeah, nice little battle developing here, 10th, 11th, and 12th. That's the battle for the last stage point that'll be awarded here in just a couple of laps. On board here with Justin Ritchie. There's your race analysis on the screen. 38 laps tonight, stage at lap 10. 5 sets of tires available over the wall. It's going to be one of those nights where, you know, the stage, even though it's only 10 laps in, I mean, you still get close to a half an hour. Oh, yeah. He is way off the mark here. Oh, just got spun around. Coming off of 12. Got a piece of that inside wall, too, with the back bumper. I think he just overshot the final corner here.
Backing it up one more time as Linz comes over the McDonald's bridge. Front end locks up, spins it around, and Burns nowhere to go.
It's going to be really costly time-wise to the leader for Carter Linz. He only lost the one spot because of how much distance they had put on Orlando, but that also slowed up Jeremy Burns a little bit. So now Trevor Keith with a 3.5-second advantage. Going to be able to probably nurse this thing all the way to the stage, assuming he keeps it off the wall. Although Jeremy Burns, I'm sure, now going to be happy to have a little bit of clean air on the nose of that race car. As Caleb Gilbert is around further back in the pack. 54 was sideways there, coming off of, oh, I don't even know which car. I want to say that's turn 1.
Turn 1 hit the tire barrier.
Oh, I think he missed the tire barrier. I think he just hit the wall.
Well, that also was something I was looking at. Dakota Floyd has brought it down pit road because of his EOL. He's going to try to flip the stage and pull track position that way. So for the 54, he has made his 4-tire stop.
We'll do a little bit of stage flipping, try to get some track position for the restart. I like the call from the 54. He keeps himself on the lead lap. We're on board here. This is Michael Bennett running in that 13th position. He's also going to look to flip the stage here.
So at the end of the top 10 here, it's Justin Ritchie. He's holding on pretty good against Dylan Picklesheimer in the 35. He's about 4 or 5 seconds back from the number 55. Then it's Kyle Stewart, Alex Forget. Alex Forget coming, I think, lost a position at Parker Johnston just now in turn 2. Then it back out on the racetrack now. And it's Jacob Sirkovich that has brought it in. So a lot of these cars flipping the stage. So we approach 2 to go in stage number 1 from the Chicago street course. Trevor Keith with a 2.2 second lead. That is dwindling down a little bit a lap per lap, but the 15, surprisingly, he's going to pit. He's going to bring the 9 with him.
Fascinating. Trevor Keith electing to go with the track position.
Is almost into the wall.
Wow. Tokyo drifting down pit road. The 66 just made it in there. We almost had our first KSX pit barrels moment. Taking a look at this. Ow. Oh, wow, he did get a big piece of the wall. Forget about almost. Yeah, he did just clobber it. He's lucky that him was off of turn 12 and he was able to get down pit road. Pit road, though, is now closed. So it looks like Kevin Orlando Jr. going to be in prime position here to take home the stage win from Chicago. After the top 3 all come down pit road trying to flip the stage for track position.
For Kevin Orlando, this is kind of one of those gift horses that you know where you're going to be after the stage. You're going to have to come down pit road, so he's probably going to end up back in 4th position after it's all said and done. But then you also have guys like Dakota Floyd, Michael Bennett. He might be even deeper behind that. He might end up in the 8th or 9th position. But we're going to find out as we'll take the white flag here in just about 4 more corners.
Kevin Orlando Jr. just trying to keep this thing in one piece. He's got a 1.5 second advantage over Robinson. You can see that 11 car peering just behind him as they go up over the bridge. And here they go across that start-finish line one more time here. The white flag going to be out for the opening stage here from the Chicago street course. And I tell you what, I'm looking at how the things have cycled out. Jeremy Burns still in position to pick up a stage point here.
Burns held on to the top 10. Trevor Keith also.
Yeah. I kept looking for him. I couldn't find him at first. I didn't realize he had put 3 seconds of space. He gained time on pit road to the 9. I didn't see him all the way up in 7th. I was looking for him around the 9th, 10th, 11th spot.
He made up a lot of time actually down pit road. 0.2 of a second on his stop and another 0.2 down the lane. So Keith got a pretty good advantage. He'll actually get passed up by Kyle Stewart. So Keith maybe a little bit of an issue there. And Jeremy Burns back on the tail end. But it's Kevin Orlando. Just a handful more corners to go. Holding that lead of 1.5 seconds. On board here as he'll cross into the carousel around the fountain. And 2 more corners to go to lock up stage number 1.
Nicely done from the driver of the 27.
And crossing the stripe now, Kevin Orlando is your stage winner here at Chicago Street. Started in 5th as Dylan Picklesheimer and a few others trying to come around this tail end, just now coming through the final turn. And the stage break right here at Chicago. Parker Johnston missing it by 1 position. They could throw that yellow any moment now. Unless they've went and changed the stage on me. There it is.
Nope, there it is. Just took a little bit extra time for it to fly, but we got there eventually.
So there's your top 10 on the left-hand side with Orlando, Robinson, Erhardt, Thorpe, and Diaz the top 5. Then it's Richie, Stewart, Keith, Burns, and Picklesheimer. And again, this is surprising that the top 3 came down pit road. Trevor Keith, of course, talking about his points and what he needs to do to the tail end of this regular season, I would have taken the stage points over coming down pit road.
Yeah, I think I would have as well, especially with how fast he's been today. But, you know, ultimately, they've got a different strategy in mind, and with that speed, maybe they think they're going to be able to really get out there and go for that race win. Because obviously the points would be nice, but if you can get the win, I mean, from where he's at in the points right now, he'll be in. So the risk versus reward very much on display so far tonight.
We'll drive around to catch up to the pace car. iRacing safety car. Be the only time, at least in my mind, that we'll see it out on the racetrack for a caution.
Yeah, only
admin
expected
cautions.
time tonight.
Yeah. The admin cautions, they can throw a yellow, especially if it's a race, track blocking incident. Would take multiple cars, and we're most likely only going to see that on a restart. This field fanned out relatively quickly. And then with the one incident that we did have with Grant Turner, he was able to get it out of the racing line. No one else involved in that. Also had the 66 of Carter Lenz, the 54 of Caleb Gilbert, but because we had fanned out so much, these guys not involved, multi-car, pretty clean there for the most part, and still in this event. Justice Murphy has actually left the session, done for the day, and the number 12, Michael Call, be one lap down here. So I think Michael Call will get the free pass position. What happened to Michael Call? He was up in the top 5.
Yeah, he was running 5th. I'm not entirely sure what's happened to the 89, but that free pass definitely going to be appreciated. You can see he's got some pretty heavy left front damage. Makes me wonder if he got a piece of the wall going into one of those left-handers. Maybe got a piece of something trying to cut turn 1 too tight or something. Front end of it looks a little beat up. That left front especially. They also have gotten a bit of this 7 through 10 section. But a lot of cars who are already rocking some pretty heavy cosmetic damage tonight, Bradley.
And now you're going to see a mix of different cars in this top 10 come down pit road and give up this track position. Again, it goes back to where Trevor Keith, Jeremy Burns, the 66 of Carter Lenz, and a few others had brought it down pit road. And a few of the drivers that we haven't mentioned yet tonight, they could pull some strategy. But I think we have enough fuel to make it to the end of this event, and it's going to be close.
Yeah, let me go back and consult my notes real quick on what drivers have been saying to expect when it comes to the fuel window here tonight. They were saying for road courses, actually, they didn't tell me anything when it comes to the road courses, so it's going to be a bit of a toss-up. I have all of the oval data. I do not have any of the road course data. We'll have to talk to him about that.
Well, there you go. You've got Kevin Orlando coming back out in 6th position. It's Jacob Sirkovich that came out, stayed out on the racetrack. And these cars that are out here will have about 5 laps on the stint as we have completed our rounds of pit stops. So now it's a guessing game of whether or not these cars can make it to the end of this race. Don't go anywhere, though. We will find out in just a moment's time. You are watching the Chapman Environmental Services Cup Series live on V-Speed. More coverage will continue from Chicago Street Course. Stage number 2 coming up right after this.
So Chapman's been around for 32, almost 33 years. You know, it's a great company. We've built it from 10 people not all that long ago to 32 people today. We continue to grow. We're hiring people all the time. If there's one thing that I could do, like before my time is up at Chapman, it is making sure that we've built a company that will stand the test of time. And My goal as the current owner of the company, or one of the owners of the company, is to ensure that we can pass the ownership of the organization on to the next generation of people coming up the ranks today. One area of our business where we impact the local communities pretty heavily is the school systems. So we work for school systems all over the northern part of the state of New Jersey. We operate their water systems, their wastewater systems. We do a lot of their permitting and compliance work, and we ensure that the water that the kids drink is clean. We go out and do the sampling to ensure that it's not contaminated. And we also treat the wastewater that's being generated at a lot of these facilities as well before it gets discharged to the environment. So we are supporting the local community through supporting the boards of education and the local school systems.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Is going to take the victory 128 laps without a pit stop.
Donnie Kite's going to get through it all and score his first career win.
Saturday Night Racing League and throwback at Charlotte goes to Josh Adams. Welcome back here to Chicago Street Course, where Trevor Keith, your leader now, he led the vast majority of stage number 1, but gave up the lead with Jeremy Burns and a few others coming down pit road. It was Kevin Orlando who got stage 1, but the green flag drops, and we're underway for stage number 2.
And already door to door here between these two, the 15 and the 9. Oh, they both got way out of sorts there. Keith able to capitalize. He's going to have a bit of an advantage going through turn 2. And he will clear Burns for now. So Trevor Keith back to the point. Dakota Floyd as well after that early EOL to start the race. He's put himself back to about where he qualified. He's running third, trying to hold off Michael Bennett. Oh, and Keith got a big piece of the wall there again. Identical to the opening lap of the first stage.
A little bit of right front damage now on that number 15 KSX graphics machine.
Oh, big wreck in turn 6. Kyle Diaz around.
It's a cluster back here, a lot of cars. Do they throw the caution?
Doesn't look like it. Man, look at that. Picklesheimer around, Johnson, Harrison caught up in it, Diaz around on the other side of the racetrack. We'll take one more look at it from the sky cam. Just everything gets wadded up here. Diaz gets around and gets tagged with Robinson. Picklesheimer in there as well. Man, 4 or 5 cars all caught up in that. Trevor Keith, though, still out front. Still trying to hold off Jeremy Burns, who's laying in wait about 3/10 off his back bumper right now.
Watching on board here with Trevor Keith, locked in and focused with Burns breathing down his neck in the mirror. He was able to pull away a decent amount there on the first stage, but now has a little bit of right front damage, and you got to wonder, is that going to hinder him from doing that like he did in the first stage? And Burns also had gotten behind Lenz, was a little bit conservative at the start of this race. So there was a combination of things that just aren't there this time around.
Yeah, it's a very different situation than it was in the opening stage. So keep an eye on that battle up front. Trevor Keith's got the lead. Jeremy Burns half second behind him. And this field's really starting to get strung out a little bit here. Now that we've got a couple laps going, that big wreck through the middle of the field also put a huge gap into things. About a 4-second gap from 10th to 11th right now. But here they come down the front straightaway, and the 9 got a nice exit off of 11 and 12. Not going to be close enough, I think, to make a dive here, but close enough to stay right in line. The 9 gets a little bit of the wall there off of 1.
A little bit of a push there off of the first corner. Trevor Keith's going to pull out to about 0.8 of a second with that one. Impressive. And it's worked out for Dakota Floyd. Jacob Sirkovich, though, who had pitted early, ends up losing 4 or 5 spots. He went around here out of turn 1.
Take a look here. Sirkovich just lost it going through turn 1. Car not stable under him. That car on both sides of the front of it, the left and the right, looking a little beat up right now. He's just trying to hold on to things right now. Running 10th, although he is facing some pressure here from Michael Call. Call, of course, 1 lap down, trying to get back on the lead lap. And Sirkovich just trying to keep powering on as he's going, but easier said than done with that front end damage. A lot of cars in this top 10. You see Robinson there, some pretty significant front end damage as well from that tangle up earlier. There's Carter Lenz, who had a really good qualifying run, but boy, that car does not look stable under him right now, Bradley.
No, it does not. And we got Picklesheimer around in the background, 35 through maybe one of the worst parts of the racetrack. He needs to get it going.
Gets out of the way.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Close call.
That was much like how we saw that thing get wadded up in turn 6 a few laps ago. That is the other place where things can really get congested if you're not careful, is right where Picklesheimer went around. Luckily for him, no one really was coming. As you see here, this is Bennett and Orlando. Orlando, your stage winner from stage 1, currently running in that 5th position, stringing together a really nice points day at the moment as the 27th.
And I mentioned it before, he had a few more drivers in front of him, but he has top 5 pace, and I see no reason that Kevin Orlando can't get a 4th place finish out of this event. He just needs to pace himself, not push it too hard, and I see no reason he can't get around Michael Bennett, who's right here in front of him.
There we go. Down in the 7. Bennett holds about a car length advantage. As you see, a nice little move there. Kyle Stewart going to dive into the inside, take that spot away from Erhardt. He's up to 6th. Back to this battle for 4th. Bennett still trying to hold off 27. We know Orlando's got some speed. Just a matter of when he was able to get some clean air on it. Will he find an opportunity to make a pass here into turn 1? Bennett did not look like he got a great exit there, so I think Bennett's going to be able to hold on for now.
A shout out to Xavier Cooper. Please do not actually send $2. I don't want to receive $2 from myself. Thank you.
But to that point,
Bennett loses it in turn 2. And the 10
Oh,
of
and Kyle
Stewart has
Stewart was
nowhere
right
to
there,
go.
too. Erhardt's going to go 2 for 1. Want to give a quick shout out to Ace High Racing as well for the donation. Thank you. But boy, that was. We'll take one more look at it here. Bennett completely locks it up, overshot it there in the turn 2. Kyle Stewart, a great job getting on the brakes to avoid a similar fate here. Take one more look at it here. This is what happened to Bennett. Just got a little bit loose, got a piece of that tire barrier, and as he's trying to get it backed up, Kyle Stewart, incredible job on the brakes there. Did not get a piece of Bennett or the wall. Gonna lose out the Erhardt, but that car's still in one piece.
That puts Captain Orlando up to 4th position, but it's about 6 seconds to catch up to Dakota Floyd in 3rd, who has lost some ground, and the battle for the lead heats back up with Trevor Keith and Jeremy Burns on lap 20. 19 to go. Oh boy, we're getting treated again here, Alex. I tell you what, these guys have definitely been putting in their time. They are sick and tired of Jeremy Burns dominating these road courses.
Yeah, they are. Carter Linz gave him a really good run for his money at Sonoma a couple weeks ago, and now another fun battle unfolding on the racetrack. We're past the halfway point of this one. Trevor Keith continues to lead out front. Jeremy Burns, though, laying in wait behind him. It's never necessarily been a matter of how fast you can go here at these road courses. It's how much can you do without making a mistake. We've seen both the 15 and the 9 make a couple of minor mistakes already tonight, but nothing terminal, nothing race-ending. And that is why we continue to see this battle unfolding the way it is, so you get around the lap car at Grant Turner.
Apologies to Ghosty YouTube VR. Sorry about that. Shout out. Keeping it entertaining here, and I always tell them, hey, you can do anything you want, just put your mind to it. It'd be hypocritical if I said you couldn't be a YouTuber, right?
That would be very true, especially given that's what more or less we're doing right now, watching this battle unfold. That is where we're living at the moment. And I'm telling you what, these guys, they're putting on a blistering pace right now. I mean, you can see the gap unfold. 3 seconds back to Dakota Floyd, 10 seconds back to Orlando. And I mean, most of these guys way, way back there right now. This has really become a 2-car battle, barring something catastrophic. I mean, these guys are just putting some crazy distance on the field. Look at these lap times. They're running a second to 2 seconds faster than other cars in the top 10.
And most of the top 5 started here. You can also throw that out there as well. Biggest mover would be Michael Bennett in the number 14. He has gained 13 positions. Actually, take that back. It's how many laps he has on the stint, so positions gained. Well, you're asking me to do math here, ATVL. I guess I've lost my telemetry, and I guess I'll have to get that fixed.
Tell you what, I'm looking at these big movers, man. Michael Bennett still runs 6th, starting 23rd today. He's been by far the big mover so far. He's had 17. A phenomenal run to this point. Here we go. I mean, Jeremy Burns is there. He was right on the back bumper off of 11. Does he make a move here in the turn 1? Depends on how clean of an exit he gets off of 12. Looks like Keith, though, got a pretty clean exit there down the start-finish line straight. So Burns, again, going to have to settle in behind him. It looks like through the more tighter parts of the racetrack, the 9 has a slight advantage right now. However, the moment the 15 is able to put the power down, he's been doing so with great effect tonight and has not really been letting the 9 get any big runs off of that momentum he gets through the tighter, twistier bits of the track.
Well, it only takes one mistake, and you have 12 opportunities, 38 times. So whatever that math would equal out to. I mean, we've seen guys make mistakes under caution. Remember back when we were here in the Chicago street course with Cody Anderson locking up the front tires and hit the turn 1 wall under yellow, and he was the leader.
Yeah, he was. Just goes to show, I mean, nothing's set in stone at a racetrack like this. I I mean, I've seen some races here where someone has led 90% of the race and then they absolutely binned it going into turn 6, Noah Gragson style. And then we had a completely different race the last couple laps because the guy who had led the opening 90% of it was gone. To see here, that is Kyle Stewart on pit road. He was running really well. He was into that 5th spot, but something has happened here to the 10. He is getting service done on pit road. See, oh, Jeremy Burns going to pit as well. The 9 making his stop. He was right on the back bumper of the race leader, but this is, I believe, the money stop now for the 9.
So that confirms it then.
Interesting.
They're not
How
gonna
early?
make it on fuel.
Yeah, I'm just shocked he's making the stop this early on in the run. He's going to probably be trying to maximize that second fuel window.
Looks
Wonder
like he's
if that
taking
means
tires.
that Trevor Keith will make a stop this time around or not.
I think he's kind of had his hand forced. If he wasn't planning on pitting this time around, he probably should. I mean, you don't want to give Jeremy Burns the advantage of 4 tires running that best lap time for 2 or 3 laps. I don't think it works out for you.
Yeah, if you have any ability to make that not a possibility, you're probably going to end up taking it for Jet on pit road now. So let's take a look here. The 15 going through the back half of this race course right now will be just about at the entrance to pit road in the moment here. See, that's the gap back to Dakota Floyd, about 5 seconds as they speak. And we'll see if Trevor Keith elects to bring it down pit road. The entrance to it just at the end of the bridge here. He'll make this right-hander. And yep, he's going to come down pit road as well. To your point, Bradley, not going to let Jeremy Burns try to get 2 off cycle from him. Dakota Floyd stopping as well.
So now the challenge is how fast can he get in and out of his pit box? When the 9 of Jeremy Burns pitted last, it was 39.9 down pit road, 14.3 in the box. Trevor Keith now down the lane. Don't want to make a mistake here. Perfect entrance into his box. Watch the pit timer. He's going to have to beat that time that Burns put in there, 14.3. Keith is down and away. 14.3 matches it. Where is the 9 on the racetrack?
He lost out to Floyd, though. Dakota Floyd, a 2-tire stop, has actually jumped Trevor Keith. They are both, though, well ahead of the 9 of Jeremy Burns. They got out about a full straightaway ahead of him. But now Dakota Floyd's got that track position. That's going to be really interesting, the 2-tire call. Or, sorry, made the fuel-only call. I don't know if he took tires. It would be illogical, I feel like, to take tires on a road course if you're only taking 2. But either way, 7-second stop gets him ahead of the 15, and now he's going to have some lap traffic to work through here while trying to maintain that advantage.
Looking off the back of Dakota Floyd, Kevin Orlando, your current leader right now. Trevor Erhardt up to 2nd. Grant Thorpe in the 3rd position. And watching these close battles between Matt Robinson, Dakota Floyd, Trevor Keith, and then Tyler Harrison into the top 10. First time we've mentioned his name tonight. And the Rally Daddy Twisted T-Cam on board with the Recharge Rally.
Tyler Harrison was caught up in that lap, or that turn 6 incident at the end, or the start of the 2nd stage here. Looks like he's rebounded pretty well, though. Currently running 8th, trying to track down Parker Johnson, who was also part of that. He's running 7th. So a couple of big rebounds for these guys. And now Harrison going to make his stop here. And the green flag pit cycle is on at Chicago. This field getting all types of shuffled up to jump up to Matt Robinson making a stop here from 7th.
So Kevin Orlando, the top 5 pretty much staying out on this racetrack, and you've got Parker Johnston, the last of these drivers that have not pitted yet. As Dakota Floyd and Trevor Keith are about to go to battle in just a moment's time. 57 car heavy on the rear brake. You can see the rear rotors glowing through turns 5 and 6. Actually 4 and 5 as we come up on turn 6 for this left-hander. And Floyd lead a lap here as Harrison's down and away. Lynn's into pit road as well. Floyd brushes the wall. We're running out of laps here as well, but the major takeaway from this is Trevor Keith ends up almost 7 seconds, 8 seconds ahead of the next car. It's Parker Johnston. And then it's Jeremy Burns with another 7 seconds behind that. So what happened to the 9 car that put him so far behind? He was in and out of the lane pretty quickly. This would have had to have happened somewhere out on the racetrack after that pit stop.
Yeah, I would have certainly had to think so. I don't know what else would have occurred, because he had a pretty clean looking entry into his box, at least from what we saw. Lost out a ton of time, though. You see the gap between him and Trevor Keith now, about 11 seconds. Burns running in the 7th position and has a lot of work to do if he's going to try to get up there. I think it may be, he might have been trying to force that fuel window as far as he could. Maybe he's trying to have to save a little something in order to make it. And if that's the case, I mean, got to imagine, probably should have just thought about waiting one more lap if you could help him. But, there's a reason he's won 6 times this season, and that's because he is a smarter driver than I am commentator. So we'll just have to wait and see how that'll pan out.
I don't know if that is apples to oranges or not, but I can say confidently that the strategy that these guys pull in real time, it's difficult enough to focus on the driving aspect, and then you got to do all that math on top of it as we watch this cluster of cars side by side with Thorpe. There's Reed, there's Call. But yeah, trying to do this all on the fly, it does take a lot of your focus. It's not so much that they're smarter than us, it's that they're definitely more involved than we are. That's why we're up in the booth and they're out on the racetrack. Oh, into the wall, Thorpe! That was the 77 hard into the, I believe that's turn 11.
Yeah, it certainly is. He got piled into that tire barrier pretty hard. Let's take a look here and see what happened to the 77. He's putting together a decent run. Boy, those brakes. That car just did not want to turn. I think he just overcooked it and locked it up, slid right on in there. Take one more look at it here.
Brake point. It is not slowing down.
No, not in the slightest. To a point where you could see the moment he realized that car wasn't going to turn, he tried kicking it back toward that little runoff area. But at that point, the car was too committed and still going too fast. Heavy front end damage now for the 77.
I think we just had an expired engine. I think that was Jacob Sirkovich on pit road.
Looking at the front end of that car, would not be shocked.
I thought somebody out on the racetrack had popped one, but apparently down on pit road. And Kevin Orlando, now I got to ask the question, is he staying out because he can make it on fuel? Is he saving here? Trevor Keith is 11.5 seconds back from him, just now getting to turn 7. Can he make it? I don't know.
I wonder if part of it is, I don't know if he could necessarily stretch it that distance. I'd be shocked if he could. I think the bigger element to it would be he's got so much clean racetrack right now. Why not try to maximize it if you're still running good lap times before you have to try to pit and maybe get stuck back into some other kind of traffic? I mean, you look in both directions. He's just doing time trials right now. As you see, he got real loose coming off of turn 1. But he's the stage winner tonight. He's had about top 5 pace all evening long, and he's been more willing to run it long than anyone else we've seen so far. So far, so good for the 27. Maybe not so much there for Picklesheimer. Looks like he may have got a piece of the turn 7 wall there. Sorry, that's Justin Ritchie. I saw the pickle car and my brain relapsed.
Yeah. So this is the 55 of Justin Ritchie coming towards turn 6 or 7 and just locks it up. A polite kiss there on the wall. He's going to bring it down pit road now.
Yeah, probably about that time for fuel anyway, but an opportunity to get some of that damage repaired as well. Next time by, it'll only be 10 laps to go here from the street course, and so far, so good. Kevin Orlando Jr. Those times, though, I mean, you see the lap time differential between him and Trevor
2
Keith.
seconds. He's coming.
Yeah,
I mean, Keith will be there. It's just a matter of...
He certainly will.
How long can Orlando hold on to this? Can he make it to the end of the event? I don't know. I haven't really seen the mark where these guys have proven they can go that far. And everybody else committing to pit road with the exception of Grant Thorpe and Kevin Orlando. that tells me they can't make it on fuel.
Yeah, I don't think they could either. One thing I'm looking at from those lap times, Jeremy Burns also, the last time around, was 8/10 quicker than Trevor Keith. This time about 4/10 quicker. So while Trevor Keith is making up some big time, the Kevin Orlando's, just Richie goes off there in turn 5.
Trying to let the leader by there.
Yeah. It's tough to find a good place to kind of let traffic pass here when you're walled in like this. There's no real way to escape it. But what I was trying to say before we saw that was, while Trevor Keith and Dakota Floyd are catching Kevin Orlando, Jeremy Burns is also catching those cars. And how about this? Brandon Richardson started 24th today. He's worked his way up to 8th. Just been real good about taking care of the car so far, and it has rewarded him in a big way.
Absolutely it has, and as he continues to roll around here in 8th spot, he has about 6 seconds up to Matt Robinson, but still a real shot here at a possible top 5 as Grant Thorpe has to pit, and we've seen mistakes out of Trevor Erhardt and Matt Robinson throughout this race. So for the 8 car, I think a top 5 is definitely a possibility. We still have plenty of time left in this race. 10 laps to go.
Yeah, and it's weird because mentally as a driver, you hear 10 laps to go, now 9 laps to go, and you think, oh man, I'm running out of time. As you see Orlando dives into his box. He's going to make his stop. Should be a short one, but he overshot his pit box a little bit. Going to fall down to 4th, maybe 5th. And Trevor Keith going to re-inherit the lead here. There goes Grant Thorpe as well to make his stop. So, cars starting to cycle through. It's tough. You only got 8-9 laps left, which feels like not a lot of time. It feels like go time, but that is still close to 100 corners you need to navigate here at this 12-turn road course. So plenty of opportunities for something to go wrong if you take your mind out of it even for just a second.
There's the interval between Burns and Floyd. It's 6 seconds right now. We'll check back in on that in just about 3 or 4 laps. But I'm watching Trevor Keith start to pull away a little bit. Floyd on those no tire stop, though, it's pretty impressive what he's done to keep this car up on the podium. He's done a fantastic job of matching the pace of a lot of this top 3. And of course, with qualifying, he proved that he had the speed to be up here, but he had to do a little bit of a different strategy. And usually when you pull something like that off, Alex, it ends up hurting you in the long run. Hasn't been the case here for the 57.
No, it's falling right into his lap here. He's doing a really good job. Qualified in that second row, running in the second place right now. Just kind of settling in about 1.5 seconds back of Trevor Keith. And he's got a pretty healthy gap back to Jeremy Burns. And even if the 9 should catch him, I mean, if he keeps this thing off the wall, this will be a podium finish for Dakota Floyd tonight because he is about 18 seconds clear of Kevin Orlando back and forth. So fantastic stuff from the driver of the 57 tonight as he continues to be putting down some pretty quick lap times. And there is Richardson making his stop now.
That'll do
this
it for
pit
the rest
cycle
of the field.
kind of, yeah, this field basically everyone has now come down pit road. And when this thing cycles through, I'm telling you, I'm looking at this running order. It has really been shuffled up through this pit cycle. Some of these guys just trying to stretch this thing to the end. Other folks who have pit late and are just going to be on a war path to the front. Some big movers between Bennett and Richardson. A lot happening tonight at this racetrack.
Yeah, and the big surprise, Jeremy Burns has not led a single lap here today.
I mean, if you were a betting man at the start of this race and you were to say that we'd be over 30 laps in and Burns wouldn't have led any of them, I'll be honest, I would have called you a liar. I would have thought he would have gotten at least one, but just has not quite fallen his way tonight. He is continuing to make time up to the leader. I don't want to discount that fact. He's made up about a second in the past 2 laps here, so he is definitely running faster than the 15 and the 57 right now, but that is a healthy gap he's going to have to try to overcome here. He was about 0.5 of a second faster that last time around.
Watching Trevor Keith pull out now to 1.8 seconds. Trying to hit the marks and maybe was a little bit conservative with that massive gap back there to Burns, but starting to see him creep into that relative. I got to wonder if maybe he's picking up his tempo a little bit. That's the first time we've seen a 127 out of Keith in a few laps.
Yeah, he's starting to get a little more settled in. So is Dakota Floyd. Ran a 128.0 that last time around. So they're both starting to try to get on that pedal a little bit more as well. Does not seem to be doing a lot for him, though, as Jeremy Burns continues to apply the pressure. More cars getting scored officially out of this race or with heavy damage on pit road. Grant Turner, Jacob Sirkovich, Caleb Gilbert amongst them. Dylan Picklesheimer out of the car. He's officially going to go down as a DNF tonight. A lot of cars running into some issues. A lot of attrition on this racetrack. Only 13 cars, I believe, left on the lead lap.
Yeah, 19 cars left on the racetrack here. The last one being Daniel Holloway in 19th position as we approach 5 to go. Trevor Keith, it's just been phenomenal so far today. And again, we were questioning that strategy call of him coming down pit road, flipping the stage. He forced the hand of the top 3 to come in. It looked like a genius move. It worked last time we were here for Jeremy Burns. And it looks like Trevor Keith might just win and lock his way in to the playoffs after tonight. Let's not count it just yet. There's still 6 laps to go. Anything could happen here. I gotta say, impressive drive.
Yeah, no, he's looked really sharp tonight. And, I mean, next time around, that'll be 5 laps to go, but that'll still be 60 corners to navigate, plus the handful he's got left on this lap. So still a tall order ahead as Jeremy Burns now cutting that gap to just about 5 seconds. Dakota Floyd's fallen back to about 2.5. So Dakota Floyd's going to have company here in probably a couple of laps, the way the 9's been running them down. 57 trying to hold on to that runner-up spot as they go, and even though Kevin Orlando's on the freshest tires and the shortest fuel strategy stop, he's about 20 seconds back here, so that 27, he's probably going to have to settle for about 4th here tonight. We'll take one more look here on board with the 9, and Jeremy Burns going down this front straightaway. 5 to go as he is reeling in Dakota Floyd.
You can see the interval to the lead, but with the position battle on the right-hand side of your screen, you can see it's only 2.1 and dwindling down below 2 seconds for a brief second there, a brief moment. It's going to continue as Jeremy Burns, the last time by, ran close to his best lap time. I believe it was his best lap time, a 1:26.904. He ran the fastest lap of the race with 5 to go.
Boy, he is turning on the jets here. He's realizing the magnitude of the situation, and he is trying to get on up there. That gap now 4.5. He's chopping anywhere from about half a second to close to a second off per lap at the rate they're going. But he needs to find a way to make up even more time here if he's going to try to make this a battle for the race win. Under 4 seconds with 5 to go. He's about 1.5 seconds back of Dakota Floyd. But right now, Trevor Keith trying to win his way into the Racing Revolution playoffs here. Chapman Cup Series would not be the same without TK, and right now he is putting on a show at the front of this field.
4 laps to go. If Dakota Floyd puts up any kind of fight, that'll probably stint that run that Jeremy Burns is putting up. It's 1.2 seconds now as they come off of turn 12. 4 laps to go from Chicago Street Course. It's been a treat. It's been an exciting one. Hope you guys are enjoying the action. If you are, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You'll never miss a single race. And thank you, everybody that's been participating in this chat here tonight. It's
been a lively one.
Yeah, it's not stopped for the last half an hour.
We've got ourselves a real Chicago block party going on in the chat as we're watching this unfold. Less than a second now between second and third. This is going to get real interesting here in just a second. Burns might be able to make a run as early as turn 6 here.
Last time a 1:27.150, so about 0.2 slower for Jeremy Burns, but still faster than the 2 cars in front of him by about a full second. Still got a lot of ground to make up, though. It's 3.5 seconds. He's got to get around Dakota Floyd and make quick work of him if he wants any shot to get to Trevor Keith.
Yeah, and if you're Trevor Keith right now, you are all the happier to see that 57 going to be holding up the 9 just a little bit. It's critical for Burns here to try to catch him at an advantageous part of the racetrack. Might get held up here just a little bit, but if he can stay close off at 12, he can definitely make a move in the turn 1. He's got a bit of more pace in that 9 car right now. We'll see if he tries to make something happen here. It's only 3 to go now. And this is about 3 seconds back of the race leader. They are the only cars in the zip code of Trevor Keith as they run. Next car back, Kevin Orlando, 25 seconds back. It is all going to come down to this battle here. How long can the 57 hold on to second?
That last time by, you could see Jeremy Burns a little bit slower. He lost another 2 or 3 tenths to Trevor Keith. He's got to be getting frustrated, but there's not been an opportunity with Dakota Floyd defending the inside on each corner, and Burns brushes the wall. A good drive out there for Floyd. He also got a little chip off that left rear, and now he might just concede the position to the 9 car. He will. Can Jeremy Burns now, with open track in front of him, catch up to this man?
Just barely off the wall there for Trevor Keith. A nicely timed move from Jeremy Burns in the 6. Got that position from Dakota Floyd. Less than 3 seconds separate the leader in second. This time around, it'll be 2 laps to go. It's still a pretty healthy lead for Trevor Keith, but boy, is Jeremy Burns pouring it on here in the closing laps.
Lead battle for Trevor Keith. 2 to go, and Burns sideways off of turn 12, 2.5 seconds back. The pressure's on, you can tell. Look at him. Checking that relative. Just has to stay locked in and focused here. And I think Floyd just lost it back here. He did.
He certainly did. That being said, he had about a 25-second cushion the 4th, so he'll be easily able to hold on to 3rd place as they run, although he will not be a contender in that race lead. So we'll take a look here, potentially at the replay. We'll see what happened to Dakota Floyd coming off of turn 1. Just got a little loose there off of 1. Just enough to go around. Here we go into turn 7. That gap now 1.7 seconds.
Man, I'm nervous for Trevor Keith right now.
Yeah, this is when the Jaws music starts playing. You got to imagine just seeing him get 5 to 6 tenths closer a lap here. However, he is running out of time. Of course, that being Jeremy Burns. If he is going to make a move, something crazy is going to happen here. Off of turn 12 for the penultimate time. And that's going to bring out the white flag here from Chicago.
1 lap to go, presented by Erhardt. Homes, love where you live. Trevor Keith, Jeremy Burns. 1.5 seconds, and the Richardson off the wall right in front of the leader. He had to take evasive maneuvers. He's going to lose 2 or 3 tenths. The rolling chicane of Richardson there off the exit of turn 1, and Keith almost hit him.
Here we go, down through 3 and 4, into turn 5. Here goes Trevor Keith, trying to hold on to it, trying to pick up his first win of the season. Here they go, charging into turn 6, that heavy braking zone. He still has about a 1 second advantage over the 9 as they go in the 6.
Burns is using every inch of this racetrack. He's braking way later. You can see it right here. He's going to take every inch that he can off of this exit to see what he can do. I don't know if he has enough or not, but he's got 3 or 4 more corners here.
Oh, he's gaining on them, though. Here they go into 11. Last opportunity, maybe, for Burns, driving it in really deep. Oh, he tagged him.
They're going to door each other into the corner. Keith off the exit.
Here we go.
Oh, no.
Oh, man. Oh, my goodness. Drama off the final corner.
And Trevor Keith is going to end up getting third out of this. He had the lead in the final 2 corners.
Oh my goodness. That we're going to have to take a look at that replay. Jeremy Burns made up an unbelievable amount of time on the back half of this racetrack and just drove it into the back of Trevor Keith into 11, got alongside him, and then somehow off of turn 12 as they go to lean on each other. The 15 goes around. Oh my goodness. Trevor Keith trying to get down away from the wall, try to put a little pressure on the 9, and was just about half a car ahead, enough for when that contact was made. Just looped the 15 around. Take one more look at it here. You see how hard the 9 drove it in there to 11. Trevor Keith, a phenomenal job to even hold on to it there. And here they were door to door into turn 12, and this is where it all fell apart.
Keith just kind of stepped out. It wasn't Burns getting into him to turn that car. The 15 had just kind of lost traction on those back tires and then turned towards Burns. But what's surprising to me is that he had actually gotten a good exit. Burns had just stayed off the throttle enough that when Keith came loose, he went across his nose. One more time.
Yeah.
Try to get it from a chopper cam, I think would show it best.
And I think that's the part that gets me, because right here, you know, they door each other and they're dead even. And if that happens again here, it would have been fine. But because he actually had pulled almost ahead of the 9, that little bit of contact was enough to spin him around. And ultimately going to cost him a chance at the win here tonight. Take a look at this one more time. Look at just how hard Burns drives it into 11 here. Makes up about 2-3 car lengths, tags the back bumper of the 15. Keith did a phenomenal job to keep it together, keep it composed. Door to door in turn 12, and man, just heartbreak for Trevor Keith.
So Jeremy Burns becomes victorious. He leads 1 lap here today. He led the final 175 feet of this race here tonight, and that's all it took to get another victory here from Chicago Street Course. I can't believe what I just saw, but you know what?
Yeah. I'm at a loss for words.
Say, yeah, this was another treat here for the road course racing that we've seen at Racing Revolution. And Trevor Keith is heartbroken.
Legitimately the best. Oh, man. And I can't say I blame him. I truly I can't believe the end of that race. We have been treated to 2 of the most unbelievable road course races I've seen in this series the past 2 times out, between Sonoma and tonight. And just a despondent Trevor Keith at the moment, and I don't blame him in the slightest.
Let's see if we can find our race winner, Jeremy Burns, into the broadcast booth. Alex, hustle down there to victory lane. We got to get a word with him.
Yeah, we do.
Found him.
Hey there, Jeremy. This is Alex and Bradley in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'll tell you what. We'll just cut right to the chase. You chased Trevor Keith down from about 7 seconds back over that final run, and you're about a second back going into turn 6 on the final lap. Talk to us about getting up to him, the contact in 11, the contact coming off at 12, and how are you feeling now? I mean, you're in victory lane. You only led 1 lap tonight, but by God, did you find a way to get there?
I mean, that was just a crazy race overall. I wouldn't have been in that position if I didn't half spin there, coming out on cold tires. But yeah, that was just a crazy lap, and that final stint, the entire time, Rob was just in my ear telling me, "Hey, you need this much per lap. You need this much per lap," and to run him down and have an opportunity like that, it's awesome. But yeah, it was a little weird there. I didn't think that I was actually gonna have an opportunity, but I knew that going up and around the fountain, that was my strong suit. And I was just able to get there to his right side. And coming off of the last turn, it's so hard to tell. Like I definitely crowded him up there, but I didn't turn left by any means, and it appears as though that he just hit the throttle a little too hard and it started spinning out. I wasn't trying to get up into him or anything because I wanted to battle it to the line, but it looks like he had a little bit of wheel spin. And if it is any part my fault, which I went back to look at it, and I don't necessarily think it is, but obviously I'll be biased, and my team will tell me biased stuff. But I don't think that it was anything that but we'll talk about it. TK and I are close. We talk about the road course stuff, and I really feel for him because, I mean, tonight was his night, and I'm sure that he's gonna feel like it was taken from him. But we'll go back and talk about it, and we'll figure it out. But it feels good to get the win. Feels good to get the Metroplex Ford Mustang back in victory lane, of course. But I mean, just a crazy race in general. Never was in control of it like I may have been in the past, but just capitalizing on different situations, having lap cars helped me out a little bit, and just capitalizing on where I could get in deeper into the braking zones, and a little bit of that frustration starts to set in, and some people it ends up costing them a race, but for some people it makes them faster. So just really glad to have this opportunity, and really glad to be back in victory lane.
And one more question for you while I'm thinking about it, Jeremy. Still looking really sharp this year on the road courses, much like last year, although this year it looks like it's taken a completely different complexion versus last year, where you just set sail and be doing time trial laps the whole race. You've had some really fun battles on the racetrack the past couple times out, going left and right with Carter Linz back at Sonoma tonight with Trevor Keith. I mean, what has it been like now really having to scrap with folks to pick up the wins here on the road courses? It seems like the field is trying desperately to hit the level of excellence that you've had here on the road courses.
Well, I'm just kind of excited for it, honestly. I feel like I've taken a lot of initiative this season to set up different practices and give people the opportunity to ask questions, to learn. And TK is one of those guys that's been asking questions. Michael Call, unfortunately, had some internet stuff. Carl Lenz ran into a few things, but he qualified up there. So it's really good to see the newer guys getting the experience and coming out here and showing out, and seeing the guys that take advantage of it actually performing. But overall, like, I love road course racing. It's been said before, like, oh, don't you just want to win by 30 seconds? Not really. And I honestly like seeing the league get better as a whole. But it's just so much fun. That's why I do this. That's why I do endurance racing. Just the aspect and the discipline that is road racing is so much fun and so intricate, and I definitely like diving into it. And we get a little bit of a taste of that here on the Cup Series. But yeah, just really excited for seeing where this league is going. And I know that these guys will have my number, and they had it tonight, and they're still going to have it the next race. So it just encourages me to get better myself. But it definitely throws a challenge out there for the rest of the league to, put in the time, put in the effort, and see what they can do with it.
Absolutely. Well, Jeremy, congrats on win number 7 this season. Anyone you'd like to shout out here tonight?
Yeah, just shout out my mom and dad, Josie, Coach P, Sonny, my grandma, Miss Betsy, Julie, Derek, Caroline, Shannon, Belinda, Betty, Colleen, Tommy, Chrissy, Dana, and Dylan. Element X and Performance for all their support tonight. A couple of guys weren't in the race, but they were in the ear talking to me and telling me really vital information. So huge shout out to them. Huge shout out to Metroplex, along with the sponsors of the league: Enginuity Power Systems, Chapman Environmental, Buttkicker, Coastal Financial, Ultimate Exterior Lighting, Erhardt Homes, All About Bugs. You all up here at V-Speed. I cannot wait to go back and watch this broadcast, and the admins and other drivers that were able to make this possible. A shout out to everybody who made the practices this past week. It's really great to see them getting faster, and just looking forward to next week.
Awesome. Well, Jeremy, congrats on the win. Impressive stuff, thrilling stuff up here in the booth. I'm pretty sure I had one of the worst voice cracks I've ever had on air calling that finish. Congrats, and we will catch you at the next race at Dover. I'll say next week, but I actually think there's a break in between this week and next week. So see you in 2 weeks' time at Dover.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
And that is race winner Jeremy Burns, the Metroplex Ford in victory lane for the 7th time this season. And he got it done in dramatic fashion would be an understatement. I feel like that was unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Greatest finish I think we've seen at a road course here on V Speed. It came down to the final 100 feet. It doesn't get any better than that. So for the race to come down, you don't know who's going to win. You've got Jeremy Burns, who hasn't led a lap all day long, a dominant car, a new name up front with, I believe after pit stops, it was over a 20-second lead at one point. And then, for Burns to chase him down, just an incredible race overall. But don't go anywhere. We have more post-race coverage, those final race results, and we're going to talk with the rest of your top three. You are watching the Chapman Environmental Services Cup Series live on V-Speed and presented by Racing Revolution. Back with more from Chicago Street right after this.
Chapman's been around for 32, almost 33 years. It's a great company. We've built it from 10 people not all that long ago to 32 people today. We continue to grow. We're hiring people all the time. If there's one thing that I could do, like before my time is up at Chapman, it is making sure that we've built a company that will stand the test of time. And my goal as the current owner of the company, or one of the owners of the company, is to ensure that we can pass the ownership of the organization on to the next generation of people coming up the ranks today. One area of our business where we impact the local communities pretty heavily is the school systems. So we work for school systems all over the northern part of the state of New Jersey. We operate their water systems, their wastewater systems. We do a lot of their permitting and compliance work, and we ensure that the water that the kids drink is clean. We go out and do the sampling to ensure that it's not contaminated. And we also treat the wastewater that's being generated at a lot of these facilities as well before it gets discharged to the environment. So we are supporting the local community through supporting the boards of education and the local school systems.
Welcome back here to Chicago Street Course, where the Chapman Environmental Services Cup Series has concluded week 18 for 38 laps at the street course. And that stage winner, Kevin Orlando Jr., getting it done. He ends up finishing in the 4th position, so a great points day for the 27. But the real takeaway was Jeremy Burns had no control of this race at any point. It was within the last 200 feet that this race was won by the number 9 car. If you're just joining us, go back and watch this one. It was a nail-biter till the very end. Final results up on the screen with Jeremy Burns, who led 1 lap here tonight. Trevor Keith, the dominant car of the day. From the pole, he led the most laps. He had the lead in the final 2 corners. On the throttle a little bit too hard there on the exit, and Dakota Floyd sneaks by to get back to 2nd position. We'll get a word with those 2 drivers in just a moment. There's Orlando we just mentioned, with Trevor Erhardt getting a solid finish from the top 10. He started tonight, a top 5 for him. Matt Robinson, a few mistakes, but nonetheless a great solid day. And Tyler Harrison, he was quiet pretty much all night long, picking apart this field. Starting in 11th, he'll finish 7th. Grant Thorpe, he met the tire barriers in turn 11, but still somehow able to bring his race car back to 8th position. Michael Bennett 9th. And Parker Johnston in the 48 had a mishap in stage 1, but recovers to a top 10 for the 48 team.
Yeah, back in 11th, then it'll be Alex Forget, the last car on the lead lap tonight. Everyone else from here, 1 or more laps down. Brandon Richardson finishing 12th after starting 24th. Michael Reed finishing 13th. Justin Ritchie 14th, and Michael Call rounds out your top 15. Kyle Stewart will finish 16th here tonight, multiple laps down, just ahead of Daniel Holloway. Carter Linz, who had a good qualifying run but was not able to execute in the race tonight. Dylan Picklesheimer finishes 19th, with Jacob Sirkovich rounding out the top 20.
Grant Turner with an early exit. Kyle Diaz, Caleb Gilbert, Justice Murphy with a connection issue to start the night out. And those are the drivers that will round out your 24-car field here tonight at Chicago Street Course. We were treated to what might be the most exciting finish we've ever seen on V-Speed at a road course, and definitely the most exciting finish that we've seen at the street course. This racetrack has kind of put on some barn burners for Jeremy Burns. He's dominated the road style racing, but the drivers that have been putting in the time, well, we've got a couple of them to bring up here in just a second, as we're going to look for Dakota Floyd, the number 57. You pulled off a strategy here that typically at an oval would end up putting you on the back burner for the end of the run, but you put yourself in great track position. Dakota, congratulations. I know you didn't expect to get second. I think you were expecting to get third after those two went into the final few corners, but you come out of turn 12 and you see the tire smoke. How about that podium?
Yeah. Can you guys hear me?
I got you.
All right, cool. I just want to make sure. I wasn't sure how this race was going to pan out for me, having the EOL at the start of the race. I knew it was going to be pretty much impossible to pass efficiently here. So I was just under the mindset of just take it easy until a couple laps before the stage, undercut it, and then get to the front and run the pace that I had. And thankfully, it was enough to at least keep those guys in the straightaways. I had a good view of them and almost wrecked it coming to the end there. And then, seeing TK, unfortunately, sitting on the front stretch there really sucks for him because he had this thing locked up. But, I'm more than happy with second place.
And you would kind of maintain that gap. We come out with the lead after that green flag pit stop, and we were debating on if you guys had those numbers to make it to the very end. We had guys like Kevin Orlando, Grant Thorpe, and a few others that had stayed out a really long time, and we were starting to wonder if maybe that was the call until 10 to go, where the rest of the field pours into pit road, and you looked like a genius working your way to the podium. Was that already your mindset coming into this race after you knew you had that EOL penalty?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was going to be really hard to get far up front in the stage. So I just already knew that undercutting was going to be my only chance, because if I don't, then I'm just already stuck back to where I was and I was going to make no ground. So undercutting was the best chance I had, and thankfully it all panned out for me.
Well, I have a really exciting interview. No offense to you, Dakota. I have a really exciting interview to get to here, and you know what it is. But again, another podium here. You're putting together a great regular season, and the 57 car just keeps getting up here with post-race interviews. And we'll go on to Dover here in a week's time. Do you have anybody you want to shout out? 2 weeks' time, actually.
Definitely want to shout out the team, as always. I know Richie and Kyle got caught up there in some of them clogs during the race. I know they had the pace to be way up front, especially Kyle. So hate to see that for him, but they toughed it out like always. Those guys are resilient as always. It's awesome running those guys. We make each other better every week. Shout out to the league. Everyone was super respectful. Lap cars were awesome. Gave us plenty of space throughout the whole race. No one raced disrespectfully or anything. Everyone gave each other a lot of space, even when racing for position. So it's really tough to do that at a track like this, and I really appreciate everyone racing as clean as they did. Thank you guys up at V-Speed for all the awesome broadcasts as always, and thank you to all the sponsors and everyone that supports me.
Dakota Floyd, second place here tonight, deserves a podium. Little bit crazy events puts him in second position, but nonetheless looking solid here for these final 6 races. And we look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks' time at the Monster Mile.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Have a wonderful night.
And finally, that brings us to our third place finisher, where we have Trevor Keith down on pit road. I thought for sure, Trevor, we were going to be talking to you in victory lane. I mean, I mean, you made it interesting. You guys definitely put on a great race, but what was your take? I know you were heartbroken, upset, but what was your take?
That's a bummer. You see a video from my Twitch stream. I overreacted, and I was like, "Birds just spun me. Are you kidding me?" And then I would instantly I got back and looked at the replay and realized it was my fault. Like Burns had nothing to do with that. We were just racing hard. I spun the tires, spun myself across his nose. And I missed a couple corners there at the end, which brought him to me. I was a little too. Once I realized he spun, I went into easy mode instead of let's get out of here, and it brought him to me. I mean, he might have still caught me. That dude was absolutely flying at the end of that race. It's unreal. I was hearing the laps he was pulling in. I was like, oh no. And I was watching the relative, watch him slowly come closer and closer. But a couple of mistakes, like I said. I mean, I had wheel damage from lap 1 when I hit the wall out of 4. After I told you guys no mistakes. And then we did it again after the stage, hit the wall out of 4. Just a couple of mistakes, and that's the difference between the 200 feet away that I was from winning and losing. I mean, that's what it takes. Can't make mistakes around a guy like Jeremy Burns, even when he makes one.
And when you go back to around that point where you said you kind of backed off into easy mode, you were conservative with your tires and maybe some traffic as well there. At one point you had Michael Reed, Michael Call, and a few others there were running around that 15th, 16th position in front of you. But I mean, do you chalk up any other, variables in that last run that maybe you could have changed or could have been better?
The biggest thing for me is probably I was in a good groove at the beginning of that race. I know Burns was right behind me, and we were pulling away from everybody, and I was clicking off some good lap times there. If I just stay in that groove at the early in that run, even when Burns spun, I should have just put the nail in the coffin and kept going hard. It's things you look back on, and I also could have just not spun across his nose, and I had him off the exit of 12 there. We got a little rough with each other, but that was all good fun. I mean, are you not entertained at least?
yes, absolutely. I mean,
it's better than Burns beating me by 20 seconds because that's happened before too. So, it stings. It hurts. We needed that win in a bad way. Minus 33 to the cut line now. So, good points day at least, but we needed that win in a bad way. But it feels good to know I almost had him. I've been sort of close, 8 seconds, 5 seconds, 20 seconds, like I said. But this time I was there. So, he felt the pressure, and I'm sure he's going to go to Watkins Glen and start getting ready for that. So, we're going to have to put in a lot of laps there, too.
That was the bright side of this entire thing, that we do have a road course in these final 6 events. And, besides Watkins Glen, we've got Dover, Indianapolis, Iowa, Richmond, and Daytona in there as well. Any one of those racetracks, I think you could go out there and perform. And even if it's off of strategy, go out there and snag a win. So plenty of time left. We have an off week to think about it. Plenty of time to race and get some practice laps. But Trevor, I know this one's going to taste a little sour for the next probably week or so. Anybody you want to shout out while we have you in the booth?
We'll shout out KSX Racing Graphics, V-Speed as well. You guys always do a great job. I can't wait to go back and look at this. Definitely when you guys call the finish, I'm sure it was a good one. We'll thank the team, LFM. Tyler was in my ear trying to keep me calm the whole race because when I realized Bird spun, it was just, I was like, Tyler, I'm going to be annoying for the next few laps, but I got to do this. I thank all the sponsors for the league: Enginuity, Coastal Financial, Chapman, All About Bugs, Erhardt Homes. Maybe forgetting one or two, maybe not. I don't know. We got to shout out Burns. I mean, the dude's he's good, and it takes minimal mistakes even when he makes a big one to beat him. He was ready and we'll try to be ready for the Glen.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate you again. Thank you for coming up here, and all smiles. I know this one again goes back, but it's one of those things that once you watch the replay, I know the Twitch stream probably got a little heated for a moment. Yeah, you can go check that out as well. You want to go ahead and plug that Twitch stream real quick?
Yeah, Keystone 48's Twitch. You can watch me talk about how Burns was catching me the whole time, and then freak out because I thought he spun me at the end of the race. No ill will towards Burns. He did not spin me. I spun myself. It was my mistake.
If it makes you feel any better, from the angle we had of the finish, I had the same thought at first as you did. My voice crack was something terrible. But yeah, no, thrilling stuff. And
to be fair, I did pitch him there in 12 pretty hard. So, I mean, I kind of deserved a little contact, but he gave me the bumper in 11. So I felt like we were racing hard. Me and Burns, we know how to race around each other. I just got on the gas a little too hard there at the end. Thought I had it. Saw me starting to gap him when I got on the gas and shifted a second. Got too eager and just slammed it in after I shifted and it spun.
Well, Trevor Keith, appreciate your time. We'll see you at the Monster Mile 2 weeks' time. Until then, buddy, we'll see you tracking.
Hopefully back up here more often.
Absolutely. So there you go. It's, he's smiling right now. I know it's still like one of those what could have been moments for him, and I'm sure this will probably haunt him in his dreams tonight. What can you say, though? It was a fantastic finish from a spectator's point of view. We couldn't have asked for a better race here from Chicago Street Course.
No, we couldn't have. That was absolutely fantastic. I was not expecting we were going to have our fantastic race at Sonoma a few weeks ago, one-upped as far as the road courses are concerned. But tell you what, these Chapman Cup Series guys are bringing the heat each time we have to go left and right. And they are really finding some entertainment out here on these road courses and street courses. And it makes me all the more amped for when we go to the Glen in a few weeks.
Well, before that, we have the Monster Mile, Dover, Delaware. That's going to be week number 19 on the schedule. July 23rd at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You can catch us here on V-Speed. We will have flag-to-flag coverage all season long of the Chapman Environmental Services Cup Series. Again, you can check us out on Twitter at VSpeedSim, or check out our website at vspeedsim.com. For everybody in the background that helped put this together, Adam Baker for all the graphics that he puts together, my co-commentator Alex Gagnon, the admin team with Nick Alves and Rob Rader at Racing Revolution. This is Bradley Cooper saying so long from Chicago. We're going East Coast racing in 2 weeks' time. Till then, stay tracking, everybody.
Chapman's been around for 32